channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the latest movie in the Final Destination franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines. This is the sixth entry in the series and also the first movie that we've gotten since 2011 when Part 5 came out. Now this is a series that I genuinely have a good time with. It's a fun horror franchise, kind of like a slasher franchise for the most part, even though you technically don't really have like a guy going around killing people. You have death, or you could say Tony Todd in a lot of cases, because he's kind of like death in his own right. But other than Part 4, which I absolutely hate, all the other movies in this series I have a lot of fun with. They all have something going for them, something that I enjoy, something from each of them that I find very entertaining, obviously to varying degrees. But this is a movie that I think fits in pretty nicely with the rest of the series. There's definitely some things that I enjoyed about it. There's also some things I was not a huge fan of as well. But overall, I had fun with it. I thought it was entertaining, and I thought it was, another Final Destination movie. You've got to go into these movies knowing what you're going to get. If you're a fan of the series, I can safely say that you are going to have a good time with this movie. If you're not a fan of the series, it's more of the same, so you're not really going to enjoy it. And if you're just a horror fan that maybe hasn't really watched a lot of these, there's probably a little something here for you. There's definitely a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, a lot of carnage, all kinds of good and fun stuff you would want out of a movie like this. There's a cast of characters that are mostly kind of whatever, which a lot of these movies genuinely have. But, that's not to say there aren't a few characters that aren't somewhat redeemable or somewhat likable. It's got an interesting story overall. It kind of takes place over the course of a long period of time. That's where the Bloodlines comes in, because you follow a lady who has a premonition back in the, I don't know if they explicitly say if it's the 50s or the 60s, but it was a while ago. And then basically it jumps forward to present day, where her granddaughter is now seeing visions of her premonition that she had back in that time period, where a huge building that she's in that has a restaurant up top collapsed, fell, everybody inside died. She managed to get out, save everybody, and then eventually, just like in all the other Final Destination movies, everybody then started to pass away in crazy, all kinds of different ways. So now what it is this family who have all branched off from this woman who had the premonition back then. Now they're in jeopardy, because now it falls onto them that they may all pass away, because the same thing happened to all of the other families of the people that survived that tragic accident. So we watch as things unfold, and you can kind of tell where things are going to go from here. But that's not to say that there still isn't a lot to enjoy, because there are some creative kills here. There are some fun moments. I do like that it gets meta at times, where it actually kind of points out some of the things with this series that are just overly ridiculous and things like that. And then on the other end, there's some things that just don't really work. There's a lot of, bad acting, which a lot of these movies have, so I'm not really going to fault it for that. But a lot of characters that you just don't really care about, which is kind of inevitable, because in the majority of these movies, they all pretty much die. Can't really say for sure in this one, because I'm not going to spoil anything. But, you can kind of see where things are going to go. And there's some weird CGI and green screen effects in this movie that I was not particularly a fan of. This movie this franchise throughout the years, with each movie, has gotten more digital effects, and that's totally fine, especially when you get into some of the campy humor and campy ways that people die in these movies. But in this one, it's like almost everything in the movie is green screen. On the other side, there's plenty to enjoy here. There's lots of fun moments, and there's lots of blood and gore and things like that. I mean, that's all you would ever want from one of these movies. There's also the last performance of the late, great Tony Todd. Rest in peace. He comes in for one scene here, just like he does in pretty much all the other movies that he's made appearances in. And even though you can visibly tell that he is very, very sick when he filmed this movie, he still comes in, knocks it out of the park, kills the one scene that he has, and it's a nice send-off for this man. So overall, if you are a fan of this series, you're going to have a good time with it. If you're someone that does go into these movies and expect a lot of blood, gore, and all kinds of stuff like that, you're going to get it. But there's going to be some things here and there that might kind of drive you a little crazy, and it all leads up to a finale that I personally just absolutely hated. Can't really get into too much of it because it'll spoil obviously the ending of the movie, but I was not a big fan of it. I think a lot of these movies, with the exception of maybe part 1 and part 5, have pretty lame endings, if you ask me. So this is another one to kind of add to that list, where it's a little underwhelming in the route that they chose to go with this ending. It's a solid movie overall. I'd still give it probably a B- because it does things that it should do for this franchise, but it does some things too that just don't really work out all that well, that I would have liked them have done a little bit better. But for a movie like this, it's hard to nitpick because it does everything that it needs to, but there's just some things I can't overlook at times. And that's just a personal thing for me. You're gonna have a good time with it. Go see it when it comes out this weekend. I can't really recommend it any more than for the people who love this series. So that's about it for me, guys. Once you get a chance to see Final Destination Bloodlines, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews, rankings, all kinds of good stuff. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can follow me and check out more of my reviews. And until next time, I will catch you guys later.